Good morning, good morning, good morning. Merry stupid o'clock to one and all. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and as you can see, we are still having technical difficulties. Now, before we get into it this morning, folks, please wish me well. I don't know if it's a sinus headache or whether it is a brain cold. I really don't care which one it is. It freaking hurts. So if you don't mind, sending me positive vibes today, I would definitely appreciate it. Now, the usual disclaimers. Now, you are going to find the link to this massive garbage truck on fire of a report right here in the description box. You're also going to see the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including the massive archive by Lydia Brown, aka Autistic Hoya. You're also going to find the templates created in order to send letters to your senators to stop adversive treatments and improper restraints in schools. Takes less than 2 minutes, folks. Please go ahead and get it done. Also included is going to be the change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition, because let's face it, these folks keep winning on appeal after appeal after appeal, in spite of 6 people being dead on their premises. The only way these kids are actually going to be safe is if we get this place closed down. So please click on sign your name, click on your senator. Also, trigger warning, when we are talking about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of, as well as see clips from, video surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you have young children present, please go ahead and use your headphones. Also, folks, it's stupid o'clock in the morning. I've got a massive back of the brain headache here. So, since we're talking GED devices, if there's explicitives that come out or I stumble over my words, my apologies here in advance. That we are going back to where we left off yesterday. Verification and calibrating of GED devices. Square your shoulders. The stupid is coming. Alright, so the shift supervisor must verify that a student is wearing the correct type of device and match the transmitters to the actual GED device upon arrival at school in the 4 p.m. hour when the supervisors arrive and just prior to a student going to bed. Explain to me, Judge, how is a child wearing a proper torture device going to stop an incident like what happened on August the 26th, 2007? Explain that one to me. Because it doesn't. It doesn't at all. They're still wearing the same device that was used to shock 2 students 71 times. The hell is wrong with your logic? The verification must occur with another staff present in the classroom or residence. Both of the staff must sign off on the GED recording sheet. Because if you record it, it's good, right? No. God, these people. All GED devices must be calibrated every 6 months. GED4 devices must be calibrated quarterly. Because God forbid they don't give the full 45 milliamps, Judge? As a judge, shouldn't you know what police stun guns and tasers are set to? And yet, as a judge, you still think it's okay to use these devices on disabled people but not on criminals? I do wonder how much they paid you for this dumpster fire. Moving on. GED, spontaneous activations, and misapplications. I think we read this yesterday, so we'll go ahead and move forward. Current restraint policies and procedures. Oh God, this is going to be a dumpster fire. I can feel it now. worst headache, folks. This is going to be some special stupid. Emergency restraint policies do not apply to individuals for whom the JRC has obtained a substantial judgment authorizing restraint when used as consequent pursuant to a behavior modification treatment plan. I say it once. I say it 1,000 times. I will say it until the day I die. Why in the name of God are we using behavior modification treatments on people with neurological disorders? It makes no sense, Judge. These are not behaviors. They are a direct result from neurological firings in the brain. Which means, guess what, Judge? When the threat of harm is gone, those behaviors are still going to be there because that is how that particular brain is wired. It has all the effectiveness of spanking a child. The fear may deter a child for a moment, but guess what? When that fear begins to alleviate, guess what ends up happening? Yeah, figure it out. Jesus. Gentle holding for a period no longer than 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you what happens if your ass holds me in a meltdown. You're going to get hurt. I will freak out 5 times as worse. But moving on. Gentle guidance of an individual to a particular destination. Transportation restraint. Sorry, guys. Roommate and the cat. Gentle guidance of an individual to a particular destination. Transportation restraint, because God forbid they run for the fucking border. That's what I would do. Supports and health-related protections. Protections my ass. Exactly what threat are they to you when they are completely incapacitated? And how is it healthy to completely incapacitate someone who's trying to get away from such a situation? You don't give a damn about these students' health at all. Please spare me. There is no separate written policy for non-emergency restraints, which may be part of a student's treatment program. If restraints is a part of a student's treatment program, that is fucked up. That is completely fucked up. So you're telling me, if it's in a student's treatment plan, even if they're not having a behavior, you're still supposed to restrain them for no reason at all? The hell is wrong with you people? The interim executive director, Glenda Crooks, estimates that the JRC has 3 students who have level 3 adversives in their program that call for restraint procedures. You are messed up. So for level 3 adversives in their program, does that mean you shock them whenever the hell you want on the restraint board, even when they don't have any behaviors at all, because it's in the program? Interviews with JRC staff revealed that generally, when a crisis occurs and a staff member needs help restraining a client and or maintaining control, the shift member will yell help and additional staff will respond to the area of crisis to provide assistance. I don't know why they would possibly struggle. I mean, after all, you're just shocking them and torturing them. Why on earth would they possibly struggle when you're torturing them? Folks, their definition of crisis is when somebody refuses to torture, when somebody bites back. And what do? They restrain them and they torture them more. This school is a living nightmare, and it is a crime against humanity that we allow it to continue to exist in 2021. During this time, other staff will remain with non-crisis clients in order to ensure they are safe and properly supervised. Oh, for the love of God, here we go again. If the student is trying to get away from you because you're torturing them, what harm does that present to the other kids? None. None. You're using it as an excuse. Spare me. The majority of direct care staff and supervisors felt that this system worked well, and that there was always a sufficient amount of staff to deal with a crisis. Crisis, my ass, you mean escape? However, a few mental health assistants expressed feeling understaffed at times, particularly during crisis situations. Additionally, some felt that that was not enough of a balance between experienced and new staff on some shifts, and that this sometimes impacted how staff dealt with a crisis. Or let me think, you can give them more than 3 weeks of training. You are taking kids essentially out of fucking high school, giving them 3 weeks of education, one on mental health, one on restraint, and then you are throwing them amongst a vulnerable population. People with no experience whatsoever. And I'm supposed to trust that you are the top of the top? Spare me. Types of emergency restraint. There are 2 types of emergency restraint at JRC. Physical, manual. When you strap them to a 4-point board and shock them for, breathing while being disabled. 2, mechanical, which cannot be used on students from New York. But Judge, you contradict yourself. See, I told you it was coming. You remember when you said that there are guidelines for using this shit on kids from New York? Now you're going to try and convince me? Oh no, but you should trust what I say now. God, this report is so riddled with contradictions I can barely keep my eyes straight here. Mitts are the only mechanical restraint allowed for emergency restraint unless there is a waiver from DDS in which the students can be placed in mechanical restraints other than the mitt jacket, including posy restraints, a restraint chair, or a 4-point board, all with Velcro cuffs. Contradicting ourselves, aren't we, Judge? God, they completely incapacitate them, torture them, and they dare to call it a fucking crisis. Maybe a crisis for the student, not for your ass. Any such waiver will be clearly stated in the student's current recording sheet. Emergency restraint rules apply to all forms of mechanical restraint, because, God forbid they try to keep themselves from being tortured. The horror. What is an emergency? Oh God, here we go. An emergency exists when a reasonable person would perceive. Reasonable! Reasonable, folks. Reasonable. Let me tell you something, Judge. A reasonable person would never consider aversives fucking okay. A reasonable person would never even consider torture as a means of treatment for people with disabilities, okay? I'm glad we got that out of the way. Present occurrence of self-injury. Oh, you mean when they blink for longer than 5 seconds? You mean when they stand up from their desk for a moment? Please. When they wave their hands in front of your face? Excuse me, how's me doing this doing any harm to me? I notice a lack of bruises after that, don't you? Here, look. Wow. Present occurrence of serious physical assault. I'm sorry, honey, but if you strap that shit to me, yeah. Imminent threat of self-injury by an individual that has the ability to effect such injury and has engaged in an action which indicate a present intention or inclination to carry out such a behavior. Remember when Jennifer Masumba said she would go ahead and do it just to get the shock out of the way? I wonder how many students also do the same. Imminent threat of serious physical assault if the individual has the present ability to effect such assault immediately and has engaged in any action which indicates a present intention or inclination to carry out such an assault immediately. Again, you are torturing them. And you fucking dare start with your shit. I'm sorry, but it is a regular human. I know you don't think we're human, but guess what? We are. And anybody being physically assaulted has a fight or flight response. And guess what? If that kicks in and you are assaulted unreasonably, it's not unreasonably. You are a threat. All right? Get that through your head. Property damage only if the damage is likely to lead to self-injury or serious harm to those present. Oh, fucking spare me. You don't care about self-injury. Riddle me this, Batman. How is injuring a student so they don't injure themselves logical in any way, shape, or form? Less restrictive and alternatives failed, or a determination that such alternatives will be ineffective has been made based on professional judgment. I want to know who these professionals are. I would love to know who these professionals are. Are they outside of JRC? Because I've talked with the medical community outside of the JRC, and they look at what you all do as treatment with absolute horror. There's a reason why you will never get anyone from Missouri in that damn school. If an emergency restraint is used, other staff present should assist that staff member in accomplishing the restraint. All right, boys and girls, what do we learn from this morning's episode? Well, apparently, resisting being tortured in any form is considered occurrence of self-injury or threat of physical assault. So, God forbid they try to run from that hellhole or try to defend themselves in any manner. Oh no, that's going to get you strapped to a 4-point board. How dare you defend yourself? Don't you know that we are shocking, abusing, and torturing you for your own good? How many abusers have said the same to their children? Answering that. Also, as usual, the judge contradicts himself, sitting there saying that emergency restraint cannot be used on students from New York. And then literally, in the very next sentence, he does what he always does. Except. Spare me. Basically, what you were telling me is that these kids have no protections, no rights, and no ability to speak up for themselves. Because if they speak up for themselves, guess what happens? Yeah. And on those dark notes, I'm going to go ahead and close out for this morning. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this topic. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. Feed that algorithm. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spelling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.